Hi, my name is Kathy Harvey Nelson. I'm the director of the Center for Spiritual Formation, and today I'd like to talk with you a little bit about something that we call the daily office. We human beings are creatures of time, and time is really the arena of God's self-revelation. Paul says to the Galatians, when the appointed time came, God sent his Son. We best learn to see God in the rhythms of our own lives, just as light turns to darkness and darkness to light again, as sleep gives way to waking and waking to work, and as work returns to reflection and rest again. So we experience the life rhythms that remind us of the very presence of God being with us. There are two types of time, we're told. There is chronological time, when, as the poet says, time turns round itself in an obedient circle. This is kind of mechanical time, timetable time, structured time, where the light of the presence of God is really not noticed. In Psalm 19, we hear the psalmist describe it this way: the heavens declare the glory of God. The vault of heaven declares God's handiwork. Day discourses to day, night to night hands-on knowledge. No utterance at all, no speech, no sound that anyone can hear. Yet their voice goes out through all the earth and their message to the ends of the world. There's also that other kind of time, kairos time or sacred time. But in truth, as time is part of God's good creation, it might actually be argued that time is never chronos, but always kairos, sacred time. Faith has always perceived this, and Christian communities have always labored to redeem the time or to place an overlay of intentionality upon time. It's within this overlay that the created can perceive oneness with the Creator. Part of this legacy is the Christian year, which stretches in its varying seasons. We celebrate the season from Advent through Epiphany, from Ash Wednesday to Good Friday, and from Easter through Pentecost. Another aspect of this legacy is something called the Canonical Hours, which are observed by monastic communities around the world. Within this structure of the hours is found that peaceful give and take of work and rest, and also a challenge. The challenge to stay awake with Christ in Gethsemane. To offer a bit of history, we find that by the 3rd century, the structure of the canonical hours had been established, whether from the hours of prayer in synagogue or whether it was derived from the Roman division of the day. There were 4 distinct periods: prima, or first, tertia, or third, sexta, 6th, and nona, 9th. The 4 watches of the night then were also incorporated into this structure. The first watch, called vespers, from the Latin evenings; the second at midnight, compline, from the Latin complete; the third at cockcrow became matins after Matuta, the goddess of the morning; and the fourth at dawn became lauds, from the Latin laudere, or to praise or extol. The canonical hours have always been a shared corporate experience. Saint Benedict, in his rule, wrote that he believed that the unceasing praise of God was the main purpose for the church. Evelyn Underhill confirms this, saying that the canonical hours is the ordained form within which the whole church performs unceasing praise from hour to hour, both night and day. The hours have another function as well. Brother Roger of Taizé believed that perseverance is the way to focus our attention on Christ through all the dull days of our lives. In other words, we must knock at the door until it opens, because sometimes the light of the presence of God can flash through our prayer, and there really are no words to describe that experience. In the version of the hours that have been developed by the Center for Spiritual Formation, we've divided 4 24-hour days into 8 3-hour segments that correspond to the traditional canon. We lift up 8 holy mysteries from the life of Christ, which are the Eucharist or Holy Communion, the experience in Gethsemane, the absence of God experienced at the cross, the resurrection, Pentecost, Epiphany, the baptism of our Lord, and finally, the Transfiguration. In this way, we observe the entire Christian year in 4 days, whereas in a monastic setting, the cycle is for the whole calendar year. Observing the hours helps us, as people seeking to draw closer to the divine, to perceive the sacred nature of time and to see our own life as well as our life in community with greater clarity and as part of the light of God revealed in time. The center would like to extend a special thank you to Russell Hart, who researched and created this introduction to the daily office. And we hope that you might find this gift to be helpful as you seek to draw closer to God's grace and presence. The Center for Spiritual Formation has created a downloadable booklet as part of our stay-at-home meditation series. If you would like to dedicate some of your time to exploring the blessings of observing the hours, I would like to offer some guidelines. For stay-at-home meditation, we don't recommend observing the entire 4-day cycle at one time. One day in the cycle can be completed over a couple of days as time permits. Or you can choose a day and do the 8 offices of that day every hour on the hour, or every 2 hours until you've completed the day. Remember, this is time to spend in the presence of God, not something to add one more burden to your day. At the center, when groups engage in the hours, we observe holy silence between the hours, except during meal times. And we observe the night hours at the prescribed times in the booklet. But I suggest that for stay-at-home meditation, you adapt these exercises to the needs of your own household. When it comes to observing the Eucharist, if someone cannot be present to bless or consecrate elements, we suggest that you take some time to maybe silently reflect on how every meal can become sacramental. The liturgies in the booklet, as they are written, are sent to be read back and forth. You'll notice it says community right and community left. In this way, 2 or 3 participants in your home are sufficient to keep these services flowing as they're written and to complete your experience of the hours. Should you wish to acquire the Daily Office booklet produced by the Center, you can do so by visiting our website, www.centerformation.org. There, you'll find a link to download the booklet. We're suggesting a $10 donation be made to the center, which can also be done right there on the website. Thank you for taking your time to join me today. I wish you good health and a growing spirit as you reach out to the God who is already reaching out to you. May God bless.